So the big question is this: how do most agents who struggle to get the information that most successful agents hoard to themselves grow and prosper without this information? That's the big question, and this video cast is the answer. Welcome to Real Estate Rockstars. I'm your host, Pat Hyben. Okay, Rockstar Nation, we have a great guest today. I got Mr. Brandon Mulrenin on the line, and Brandon's story has been making its way across many social circles in the real estate business about what he's doing, what he's coaching other agents to do, and how to basically take a proven track record and duplicate it elsewhere. And I figured let's get him on the show so you guys can listen for free and find out what his proven track record is and write down how you can duplicate it if you want to use it to make a lot more money selling real estate. So without further ado, Brandon, welcome to Real Estate Rockstars.
Appreciate being here, man. I'm honored to be on your show. I've actually, believe it or not, I've been following you for a long time, read your books, listened to a lot of stuff you've done. And so thank you for all that you do for the industry.
Hey, you're welcome. Why don't you give everybody a little rundown on yourself, Brandon, so they can get to know you better?
Absolutely. So been in the business for about 12 years. Half of that time, Pat, was spent in the mortgage business as a mortgage banker, loan officer, call it what you will. And now for the past 6.5 years has been spent in the real estate sales side of things. Got my license, been with the KW system the entire time. My first year selling, I got my numbers here, 116 homes for about 23 million. And now have grown a team and really found a system on how we can help people get into the industry and be successful very quickly and really help to lower this failure rate that I think so much of the time is so high. And so I think I'm really excited to share that with the audience today.
Yeah, that's an age-old, problem that would be great to figure out how to solve, right? And there's a lot of factors that go into it, but especially someone who's building a team or a brokerage that's hiring agents, or an agent themselves that's brand new or maybe in a slump, right? And wants to kickstart things. So let's find out. Okay. Well, first of all, where are you today, Brandon? Like what? I know you're outside of Detroit, Michigan, not that way, but like how many houses did you sell last year?
Yeah. So we, my team, we do between $35 million team, year in, year out. That's kind of what we do.
And what's your GCI, or I like to say ECI, on that?
Yep. So it's like 850.
Okay. And so what do you take home with that?
So typically with my personal net, it's about 350-ish.
Okay. And so I assume is that more than you were doing loans?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. So that's definitely a step up. All right. And what's your team look like?
Yeah. So I'm still listing and selling property. I've got 3 other agents that one works on some listings with myself, and then the other 2 are just focused 100% on buyers. And we have 2 administrative staff. So it's small, close-knit, and we try to stay highly productive.
Highly productive, yeah. And sometimes I find that's where the biggest profit margin is. It looks like your profit margin is like 45% or so.
Yep.
Once you start, dishing out listings to other people, obviously that cuts, into the profit margin significantly, unless you're paying them 10, 15, 20, 25%. And unless you're in a high sales price range. What's your average sale price there?
200.
Okay. Yeah. So, okay. Makes a lot of sense. Okay. So let's talk about your first year. You came in there, it just went straight out of the gate, sold 116 homes. How did you do that?
Yep. So let me walk your audience kind of through step by step what I did specifically, so they've got some tangible takeaways. Number one thing, I was very lucky, Pat, because my entire career in the mortgage business was spent on the phones prospecting. That's how we grew our business. Now, we grew it through internet leads with the mortgage business. I'm going to talk about lead generation in the real estate industry here in just a second. So call it lucky, call it I had a leg up, call it what you will. I was very fortunate to have that experience for 6 years on the phone. I always tell people I was raised on the telephone sales game. That's how I was raised. And so transitioning into real estate sales, it was a very natural progression into that sales arena. So
when you say you were raised, you mean that's how you got your mortgage business, is you cold-called real estate agents?
No, so we went right after internet leads on the mortgage side. So we went right after online refis, online purchase leads. We did not call agents at all.
Okay.
So the first thing that I did is before I was even licensed, I got a coach. I got a coach because I knew what to do in my business, Pat, before I even had a license, because I understood I was still in the sales business. Because I think one of the challenges I see for a lot of people running into this industry is I think they're getting into it for the wrong reason. They don't understand they're getting into a sales business. So I got myself a coach. That was step number one. The other thing that I had going for me, Pat, was I went into the business and I had money, and I knew that I had to focus on dollar productive activities. And I don't recommend this for everybody, but I had a full-time assistant from the day I was licensed.
Wow. Okay. Good stuff.
So
I like everything you said so far. So it makes sense. So listen, if you're starting out, or you want to hyper focus and catapult your business to do 116 units, within 12 months from wherever you are now, get a full-time assistant. 1A, B, focus on dollar productivity. Why don't you fill everybody in what that means?
Yeah. So there are what we call income producing activities and income servicing activities. So as an example, just so the audience is clear, income producing activities is prospecting for new business, negotiating contracts, going on appointments, doing price reductions, all of the thing that has a direct correlation to generating a commission check. Those are the things that we've got to spend our time on. I think the problem is most real estate agents do everything in their power to not do those things because they're uncomfortable, they're hard. It takes a lot of skill. You have to go through a lot of pain. My recommendation is that that's all we spend our time on. And then income servicing things are things like, getting signatures on documentation, dealing with and coordinating showings and inspections and appraisals and working with the lenders and title company, all of those things that are non-dollar productive, like we just talked about before. My recommendation is that you have an administrative person do those things, or you will find yourself as your own administrator doing $10, $12, $13 an hour work.
Yeah, absolutely. I love it. Right. You either are an assistant or you hire an assistant, one or the other. That's it. So, I had a mentor. I had a mentor who used to say, you either clean your toilets or you hire somebody to clean your toilets.
Yep, that's right. That's interesting. It's the same thing at home. If you're going to cut your grass. So I don't have a huge lot here in Michigan, but my lot's probably, I think it's about a little over half an acre, Pat. And it cost me $35 a cut. Now, if I were to cut my lawn, it's going to take me an hour and a half to do that. So to your point, I think you nailed it. I'm not going to go do that for $35. You know what I mean? It just doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. I haven't cut my lawn in 25 years, and it wasn't always, a financial decision. It was just a productivity. You know what I mean? I'd rather be in my house, playing with my kids. And if I'm not, then working, if I'm not building relationships, then building money, building something else. All right. So let's get into some nitty gritty. Talk me through, what you did step by step, rather than just throwing out a cliche, hey, be dollar productive, which I appreciate. And I appreciate, hiring the assistant. But what if someone wants to write down like a 5-step process, or a process of, how Brandon went from zero to hero, what would that be? What would they write down?
Yep. So step one was design a business plan that is listing focused. And I'm going to get into the nitty gritty in just a second. So a business plan that has all of your prospecting efforts. And if you're going to spend money, spending that money, time, and effort generating listings. So that's step one, building a business plan around that. Step two was getting someone to handle all of the non-dollar productive activities. And then number three, which I haven't had a chance to just yet, was I also had a full-time buyer's agent from day one. That was my 3-person team. That's what I had my first 12 months in the business, because focusing on listings really protected my return on time. And I delegated all of my buyer business to a buyer's agent because I needed to focus on listings. So that 116, those were all listings, Pat. So that wasn't even our buyer business that came from that. Yeah.
Wow. I want you to think about the word toolbox. What is a toolbox? A toolbox is a box full of tools that you use to build something great. At Real Estate Rockstars, we've created our own free toolbox. So everybody that comes on the show as a guest brings a tool with them, and we plow them all into this toolbox, and we give it away for our viewing audience to basically use as they wish. Everything we put in there is an actionable item that can be downloaded, can be printed, can be used immediately. And we got things like scripts and dialogues, checklists for teams, checklists to keep agents accountable, referral forms that are filled out at settlement to get referrals by your buyers and sellers. Everything you could think of that you could use on a regular basis about real estate is included in this toolbox. And it's helping agents worldwide sell more houses and make their jobs a lot easier and processes much more efficient. And the thing is, it's absolutely free. All you got to do is go to hibandigital.com/toolbox or text the word toolbox to 444-999. That's toolbox 444-999. Do it now. Yeah, that's even better, right? I mean, okay, so
let's keep going. Yeah. So that was my personal production. So what I did was, and I've got my notes right here, but I focused on going after a niche where I knew for certain, Pat, that the person was selling. So some of these things your audience is going to be very familiar with. Some of these things I think that they will hear for the first time. So when I spent my time and effort prospecting for sellers, I needed to know for certain that that demographic was selling their home for sure. So my number one source of business was for sale by owners. To me, it was the easiest way to get listings the fastest. Followed by for sale by owners. I did some expired listings, which those are far and few between these days. I focus on absentee owners. Now, a couple new ones that I think people aren't used to is I have an assisted living niche. What I found, Pat, was after talking with sales managers at these assisted living firms, that 90% of their tenants moving into assisted living facilities had a home to sell. And the problem for the sales manager was the sales manager at the assisted living firm, I can't convert these because these damn homes have to be sold. So Brandon, the real estate agent, comes in and saves the day. He takes that off the plate. So that was another niche that there is zero competition at all in the real estate industry.
Let me stop you here because this is good. I mean, what I want to talk to you today about, among other things, is number one, right? How to, the step-by-step plan someone listening can get listings from the assisted living niche. And then we'll do absentee owners too, because, FSBOs and expires are great, but they're cliches in that, a lot of people do FSBOs and expires. You can get information on there everywhere you want on YouTube. So let's talk about these two things. People haven't heard about them as much or at all. Keep going on the assisted living. If I wanted to do this in my hometown of Tupelo, Mississippi, how do I do it? What do I do from day one?
Yeah, so the cool thing about these leads, and everyone's got a different definition of a lead, but you can, in any community, in any city, Pat, across the country, get every assisted living facility contact information for free. So if you Googled in your city right now, Pat, assisted living, whatever county you live in, your county website will provide you the name of the company and their contact information to the sales manager, and they'll put it all in a PDF for you to just hit file, print. Imagine that. So we don't pay anything for those leads. That's step number one.
Okay, so but you're getting the property manager or whatever, or the manager.
Sales
So what do you
manager.
do with that? Can you play me through that?
I'm going to walk you through it. You got it. So now that I've got the information, my approach with the sales managers of assisted living firms is we designed a program that helps the sales manager convert more. And here's how it works. So the problem we always look for when we market or when we try to go after a niche, we try to solve people's problems. The problem in assisted living for the elderly person getting into assisted living are a couple things. Number one, a lot of the times those people have acquired many things in their home over the 30, 40, 50, 60 years that they've lived in their home. And a lot of times they don't know, they can't get rid of those things. So that's problem number one. I'm going to show you the solution here in just a second. Problem number two is they have all of their clothes and all of their stuff that they've got to move into the assisted living facility, right? And then problem number three is, how do I sell this asset, which I need the money from this asset to pay for the assisted living facility? So those are the three problems for the person moving into the facility. On the facility side, the problem for the sales manager, which those are sales people, in order to hit their sales numbers, they've got to solve that problem. So that's where our program comes in. So for the people listening, we designed a program that we charge, it's a 7% commission program, and we will take care of getting all of their junk out of their home we use a company called Got Junk, which I think is a national company.
Yeah, 1-800-GOT-JUNK. Yeah.
You got it. So we'll have all of their junk removed from the property. We will
you pay for this, right? You charge them 7%, and then you out of that you pay for 1-800-GOT-JUNK to come in.
Yeah,
okay?
You got it.
I like this. Keep going.
Yep, and then we partnered with a local moving company who will come in and get all of their clothes out for the elderly person, move them all to the assisted living firm for them. We'll get a professionally staged photograph, take care of the entire home sale, and we take that completely off their plate, take it off the sales manager's plate, make the entire process smooth, easy, non-painful, and that's why the sales manager will continue to refer us business deal after deal after deal, because it helps them convert more business. Does that make sense?
And do you package this all in like a little flyer or something and call it a cute name? Tell me about that.
Yeah, so that's exactly what we've done. So we've got a presentation, I think it's, 14 or 15 slides that we've got professionally designed. And we literally just call it our assisted living program, taking the pain out of your move, right? And so, because it's so painful for, a lot of people that are moving their parents into these assisted living firms, there's a lot of pain there for them. So we take all of their out-of-pocket expenses off their plate. We take the entire process off their plate. We handle the entire thing. Sales managers love it. The people moving into the facilities love it. And it's a really good niche that I think any agent can go after from day one.
Yeah, and then they don't have to come up with the cash up front because they're paying it on the back end.
You got it.
So it makes it even more easier. I love that. That's really good. Okay, so now let's talk about absentee owners. How do you attack those?
Yeah, so absentee owners, I think a good takeaway, Pat, for your audience is I think they all need to find a great list provider. There are list brokers out there. That's all they do. So InfoUSA is a great one. InfoUSA.com. PioneerDataSolutions.com is another one. What these companies are data companies, and what their specialty is finding any type of demographic. So as an example, you can, with these companies, tell them, Pat, I'm looking for people that have been in their house for over 10 years. I want them to be over 60 years old. I want them to be in their homes to be worth X, Y, and Z, and they'll give you that list. So what I did, and what in my experience is most people, let's define what an absentee owner is for the audience. An absentee owner is someone who owns a property and it's not their primary. So it's a rental or it's a property they've inherited from a family member. So what I find is that a lot of absentee owners don't want to be landlords. Actually, the majority, I find, it's too big of a headache. They're not into the real estate investing business. They're just doing it for whatever reason because they couldn't sell their home when they tried to sell it in the past. And so we get that list from our list broker, and we get their cell phone.
Wait a minute. You get that list from your list broker. Who's your list broker?
We use Pioneer Data. pioneerdata-solutions.com.
Pioneer Data Solutions. And is that pioneerdatasolutions.com?
Yep.
And they basically just give you a list of every absentee owner in whatever zip code or area you request, and you pay for that.
Yep.
Okay, and then what do? You mail them a letter? What does the letter say? Do you call them? What do you say on the phone? Give me some specifics.
Yep. So all of our prospecting efforts are based over the phone. So our absentee strategy, everything we do is over the phone. So Pat, if you were an absentee owner and you were on my list, and I've got your cell phone number from my list provider, I would say, hey Pat, it's Brandon. I'm a local realtor. I see that you own the home on 123 Main Street. Is that a rental property of yours?
No, my dad lived there. He passed away, and I got to get out there, but I'm 3 hours from there and just been busy, got 4 kids myself, and just, anyway, so no, I haven't decided whether I'm going to rent it or sell it.
Yeah, totally get it. And so what's interesting, Pat, is a lot of the people that I speak to who have inherited properties, what they don't know is that the market has continuously gone up. And I think for the most part, people would like to sell those properties, cash in so they can move forward with their life. Is that kind of what you're thinking?
That would be easiest.
So one of the things that we do, we specialize in helping people who have and own properties just like yourself that are not primary homes. I'd love to actually see the home, talk about how we can get you top dollar for the property, put that money in your pocket so you can move on with your life. Fair enough?
I want you to think about the word toolbox. What is a toolbox? A toolbox is a box full of tools that you use to build something great. At Real Estate Rockstars, we've created our own free toolbox. So everybody that comes on the show as a guest brings a tool with them, and we plow them all into this toolbox, and we give it away for our viewing audience to basically use as they wish. Everything we put in there is an actionable item that can be downloaded, can be printed, can be used immediately. And we got things like scripts and dialogues, checklists for teams, checklists to keep agents accountable, referral forms that are filled out at settlement to get referrals by your buyers and sellers. Everything you could think of that you could use on a regular basis about real estate is included in this toolbox. And it's helping agents worldwide sell more houses and make their jobs a lot easier and processes much more efficient. And the thing is, it's absolutely free. All you got to do is go to hibandigital.com/toolbox or text the word toolbox to 444-999. That's toolbox 444-999. Do it now. Okay, sure. Yeah. There's a key. The neighbor has a key. If you want to run over there, and I can tell her to give it to you, and you can look at it.
Yeah, that'd be great. I'll check out the house, and then I'll plan on touching base with you in the next couple of days or so. You and I can walk through a plan that makes the most financial sense for you. And if we decide to work together, great. If not, that's okay too. But I think for a lot of people in your situations, and I don't want to put words in your mouth, but for a lot of people in your place, just like I said, they just want to get it over with. They want to get the house on the market, get it sold for top dollar, and move forward. So
yeah, now that would be lucky in that, you would catch me between the death and the time that I've gotten over there. Let's just say, and this is happening more and more, we have more single family home rentals now than I believe any time in history. So
yep.
Let's say now that, you get me and it is a rental, right? Mm-hmm. And I'm like, yes, Brandon, it's a rental. I rent it out.
So let me ask you this. A lot of people that I talk to that are in your shoes, they don't want to be in the real estate investing world. They would rather sell the home. And just so that you know, Pat, the market is up 20% since the time you've owned it. I'm just curious, is the plan to continue to rent the property, or would you rather cash out and move on with your life?
Well, yeah, certainly if I wanted to cash out, I would just put it up for sale. But what do you think I can get?
Yeah, great question. So why don't we do this? Why don't you invite me over? I'd love to actually see the home. I don't know if your tenant's okay with that. And then you and I can discuss what the property will sell for, how much you'd put in your pocket when it's all said and done. And then that way you can make the best decision for yourself. Fair enough?
Can you just contact the tenant direct? And if I give you the number and just let me know?
Yeah, no problem. I'd love to.
Okay, so basically what I'm finding, what you're doing here, Brandon, is you're just basically the calling them is more important than what you say.
You
right?
you just nailed it. You nailed it. I mean, everyone always keeps asking me, yeah, what do you say? What do you send them? What do you do? It's less about that. It's more about just focusing on the right people.
Okay. All right, cool. So what else is new and exciting that you're doing to make money, or what else is new and exciting that you're doing to make your team and yourself more efficient as far as software, phone apps, things like that?
Yeah. So we focus heavily on our database system. Okay. So our database system is super, super simple. The goal of real estate sales is to, yes, get now business, but to build a real business is to build that database for consistent long-term referrals. I think everyone would agree with what I just said. Now, the system around that we have is very, very, very simple. Number one, we send everyone in our database, and we use exactcontact.com as our CRM.
Exactcontact.com. Now, why do you use Exact Contact? There's a million CRMs. Tell me about that one.
Yeah, and so to your point earlier, I think it's less about the specific CRM that we use, and it's more important that you actually use the one that you have.
Yeah, I agree with that.
So, there's no reason. I could use anyone. It doesn't even matter. I think this industry is overthinking everything.
Talk to me about it. That's funny because I talk to so many guys on the show, or guys and gals on the show, that have created their own CRMs, so like hundreds of thousands of dollars, that are launching a CRM. And I think, does the industry really give a crap, about all the little intricacies of a CRM, or they just want the CRM to, not lose all these very, very valuable phone numbers? I mean, talk to me about that.
Yeah. So I think it's a major challenge in the industry right now, where people are in analysis paralysis, wanting everything in their business to be perfect. And I think what's happening is there is so much information out there. It's almost information overload, that we are obsessed with information. And when we know what we're supposed to be doing, but we get so caught up in building a CRM because it makes us feel busy, but we're not being productive. And so I think that's an obsession. I think it's an addiction with social media and our phones and all of the stuff that we're obsessed with. I think people are looking for reasons, Pat, to not be productive. That's my opinion. And they're trying to do anything they can possibly do to get out of prospecting.
Yeah, it's kind of like it's kind of, and I understand this. It's kind of like, when you should be prospecting, and it takes you an hour to pull the expireds and write the numbers on each printout, and set it all up and do it all up, when really all you should be doing is picking up the phone and calling and making the call. And so you're saying the same holds true with CRM, and you just want it for the basics. Okay, keep going. So what else?
Yeah, so here's what we do. Our database system's super simple. Ready? It's ultra complicated, so make sure you're writing notes. I'm just kidding. It's super simple. We send one email a week that's educational based through video. We believe video is the way that we need to be communicating with the people that we care about. So one email goes out every single week to everybody in our database based on educational content. What type of educational content? We do things that we get questions on every single day. Pat, what affects my home's value? Pat, when's the best time to sell? Pat, what's an EMD? How does that work? Pat, how much should I offer on a home? So on and so forth. All of the topics that we get asked every single day as a real estate agent, we turn around and make a 2 to 3 minute video that gets out to every single prospect, past client, center of influence. Every single person that's in that database gets an email from us once a week. That's number one. Number two, we send a piece of direct mail of value to every single person in our database. And we use the personalmarketingcompany.com. They'll do the entire thing for you. They'll put it on automation. They'll write all the content for you. You don't have to do it.
This is like a newsletter, like recipes and stuff, or what?
It's actually what's going on in the market today. It's tips on what you should be doing to winterize your home or getting ready for springtime. So valuable homeowner information. And to your point earlier, I think it's less about what's on that. Yeah. It's more so about people in the database seeing your
face and your name is on it, and that's really all you care, because they're going to trash it. But they look so nice that they probably don't trash it right away. Probably wait a day or two, but at the end of the day, it ends up in the trash can, right?
It's consumer perception. They see me and they think, geez, dude, you must be famous or you must be this thing. And they put you on a pedestal because they see you all the time and they think you're this big time marketer. And it's just playing to consumer perception. And I think that's more about what it is, more so than what it says on line item 3 on the back page.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I love your philosophy, Brandon, and I love everything that you say. Okay, so Allie, I'm going to stop it here for a second. So Brandon, you're supposed to leave a free gift, but the gift can't be like a coaching session. It has to be like something they could go and download. Like
my listing presentation. It's the best.
Okay. All right, hold on. And then after we're done this, don't hang up because I'm going to ask you one more question for another thing we got going on, which is about what's one thing they can do to add a lot of profit to their business. So think about that. Okay, hold on. Well, this has been incredible, Brandon. I really appreciate all the meat and potatoes here. I appreciate you coming in and giving websites and giving exact places to go and exact things that people can grasp today. There must have been 10 of them mentioned on here. I'm going to put as many as we can on hibandigital.com. Brandon, I'll go ahead and put your full name, Mulrenin. Why don't you spell your last name?
It's Mulrenin.
Or you could go to the search bar on the website, hibandigital.com, and type in Brandon, and there's only been 3 or 4 different Brandons on the show, and you'll see him as the first one because he's the latest. So, Brandon, everybody that comes on the show donates a PDF or something specific to our agent toolbox, where agents can go and open up the toolbox and get many things inside that all of our guests have donated and put together, and we have tools from all over the world in this box. What can you give us today that we can add to the agent toolbox?
Yeah, so I will give the entire audience my full listing presentation. I hired a professional designer. Not only is it designed beautifully, and they can use it as a template because I'll give it to you in a PowerPoint so your audience can use it, take it, steal it. But I've designed it in such a way, Pat, where it should help your audience convert a lot more of their listing appointments into signed contracts.
That's awesome. Well, I appreciate it. That's very generous. And I will put all of that at hibandigital.com/Brandon Mulrenin. And also, you can get it by going to hibandigital.com/toolbox or texting the word toolbox to 444-999. Brandon, thanks so much for coming on today. Best of luck to you outside of Detroit, and if I'm ever in that area, I will definitely look you up and we'll break some bread.
My man, thank you so much. It's an honor to be here. I'm truly glad to be of service.
Okay, big profit agents, please welcome Brandon Mulrenin, about an hour outside of Detroit, Michigan, and is killing it out that way with some really specific things that are causing his profits to increase. So welcome the big profit agent, sir.
Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate it.
Hey, Brandon, what is one thing that the big profit agents can do to drastically increase their profits in the next 6 months?
So I'll just give you, my one big takeaway, and that is hiring a transaction coordinator versus a full-time assistant first. So paying this person on a per transaction basis, $300 or $400 per transaction, versus hiring someone on a full-time salary of $40,000 or $50,000 a year.
Yeah, simple, but I highly agree with that, right? Because if you got 6 settlements 1 month, they cover them all. If you got 0, you're not going to pay anything.
That's exactly right.
And that's what the world we live in. We live in a world of specialists with Upwork and things like that. We live in a world of specialists now, people that do specialty things and are very good at it, rather than generalists that do a little bit of everything. So that's great advice. Well, listen, Brandon, thanks so much for coming on Big Profit Agents.
My pleasure. I'm glad to be here.
Thank you for watching Real Estate Rockstars. Please give us a review wherever you're watching or wherever you're listening. We eat feedback for breakfast, and I don't care whether you give me a 1-star review or a 5-star review. I just want the review. I want to know what we're doing right and what we're doing wrong. Would love to improve things. Hey, and listen, please subscribe. The more subscribers we get and the more reviews we get, the better guests we'll get for you in the future. Feel free to reach out to me anywhere on social media. Just type in my name. I'm everywhere, and I look forward to meeting you in the digital world. Have a great day, and thanks again for listening to Real Estate Rockstars.